President Biden will not face criminal charges for keeping classified materials after his vice presidency. The Department of Justice says a year-long investigation revealed Mr. Biden willfully retained and disclosed classified documents that included information about the military and foreign policy in Afghanistan. But the report says evidence does not prove the president's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump faces multiple charges for his handling of classified documents, and the Department of Justice also cleared former Vice President Mike Pence. Well, today, the U.S. Supreme Court heard arguments on whether to bar former President Donald Trump from appearing on primary ballots this election year.
The 9 justices grilled lawyers on both sides over the insurrection clause in the 14th Amendment. Meanwhile, Trump is facing challenges in several states right now. ABC's Em Nguyen explains the nationwide implications for the race.
In the landmark case before the U.S. Supreme Court, justices appeared broadly critical of Colorado's high court decision to disqualify former President Trump from that state's primary ballot under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. That section prohibits an officer of the United States from holding public office who has taken an oath to the United States and then engaged in insurrection. Trump's lawyer drawing a distinction between an elected president and an appointed officer.
Officer of the United States refers only to appointed officials, and it does not encompass elected individuals such as the president or members of Congress.
The attorney for Colorado pointing to the events of January 6th.
By engaging in insurrection against the Constitution, President Trump disqualified himself from public office.
Multiple justices signaled skepticism as to why states would decide a federal election without more guidance from Congress.
I think that the question that you have to confront is why a single state should decide who gets to be president of the United States.
Just doesn't seem like a state call.
At one point, justices questioned whether the framers of the 14th Amendment had even intended to give states more power in the aftermath of the Civil War.
The argument went, maybe not surprisingly, very well for Donald Trump. It does seem as though there is a strong majority, maybe even close to a unanimous court, to rule for him on some grounds.
Trump today praising his legal team.
I thought our arguments were very, very strong. You take the person that's leading everywhere and say, hey, we're not going to let you run. You know, I think that's pretty tough to do.
It's not clear yet when the High Court will rule on this case, but Colorado's primary is set for March 5th, so it's likely we'll see a decision before then. Em Nguyen, ABC News, outside the Supreme Court.
And Virginia is one of those states filing a lawsuit trying to remove Donald Trump from the presidential primary ballot. The suit argues that his candidacy is a violation of the 14th Amendment. Now, while we wait for the Supreme Court to decide on that and weigh in, Virginia voters should expect to see Trump on the Republican primary ballot. He's running against former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley for the nomination. When it comes to the Democrats, you can see only President Joe Biden and Minnesota Congressman Dean Phillips are still in the race. Keep in mind, candidates who have dropped out will still appear on the ballot. And remember, Virginians can vote in either party's primary, but not both. Early voting is underway through March 2nd. The presidential primary, that's Tuesday, March 5th.